Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's the Disney animated movie Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Yes, based on the late 80s, early 90s TV series. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, so we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to roll the dice and see if YouTube will actually notify you when I come on live, you can hit that bell down below and see what happens. Or you can go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it out every week. Also have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right. So I'm going to do the spoiler-free version of this first. So that way, those of you who haven't seen it yet can get an idea and then see if you want to see it, before I do the spoiler version of it. Um, yes, like I said, this is based on the 80s, late 80s, early 90s TV series, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. But why am I covering this? Is what you're saying. You're like, Dennis, did you ever watch that show? Fuck no, I didn't, because I was out of that age group that was actually targeted towards. It was targeted towards really young kids. I was not a young kid at that point. I was young at heart, but yeah, no, nah. So this was definitely not my series. I know there's a lot of millennials that actually like this, you know, and that's great. This movie is a little bit different than that. This is kind of tongue in cheek. This is more, I guess you could say, it takes that series and essentially what it does is it makes it a little more adult. It grows up with the audience, I guess you could say, and takes a lot of good natured ribbing at celebrity status, um, Hollywood, and doing it all through animated. Yes, I know, my channel, my choice. I know that. Uh, she's asking, is this genre? It is actually genre because it covers so many different things. It kind of falls into sci-fi. Basically, the plot that I liken it to is Who Framed Roger Rabbit, um, which is kind of ironic because Roger Rabbit is in there at one point. There's a ton of cameos, so it's very it's more adult in nature with some of the jokes. There's a couple times I laughed out loud. Plus, the voice cast is pretty amazing. You know, J.K. Simmons is there. Seth Rogen. Keegan Michael Key, Dennis Haybert, Eric Bana, Will Arnett. You even have like a little throw aside by Tennant. Tennant is actually in there as well. There's a ton of people in there, and of course the lead, Andy Samberg and John Mulaney, um, and Will Arnett's in there too. So I mean, there's a lot of different voices in there, and it's not promoted by Disney at all. This movie, it's not. It's kind of flying under the radar of things. The way they kind of promoted it was like it's a kids movie. This is not a kids movie. It really is not a kids movie. This is very tongue in cheek, very I would even almost go so far to say it's SNL esque in a way. It has a lot of SNL people, Saturday Night Live people that are voicing characters, things of that nature. And um, is it worth your time? Yeah, it's worth your time. It's actually it's funny. It does a good job with what it's doing. It's not that long. It's like an hour and a half, somewhere around there. And it has a good story to it. Even though it cribs from other stories, but they actually make note of that. It's very self-referential and self-aware as well. So, uh yeah, it's one of those movies that just kinda came out of nowhere. I decided to throw it on last night at the last minute because I was like, "Eh, what the fuck? I'll see what this is about." And, it had me from the beginning, honestly. It made me laugh, and, it's good. It's definitely good, and it has a lot of good, animation jokes in there too. So, if you're into animation, it's got it in there as well. So yeah, check it out. It's on Disney Plus right now. I think it's in theaters as well, but I mean, it's on Disney Plus. So why would you bother going to the theater when you can go and see it? If you already have Disney Plus. So yes, worth your time on that one. So with that said, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the movie. If you have not seen the movie, run away. You can watch this as a video later on, pause this, whatever you want to do here. Yeah, so I'm letting you have enough time here to run away, do whatever you need to do. So yeah, the whole thing with Chip and Dale having the falling out, um, and then they've gone their separate ways after the show has been canceled. Um, yeah, after Dale decides to try and become his own person, I guess you could say, if you will, his own. He tries to do his own series, and it fails miserably. And of course, that leads supposedly to the canceling of Rescue Rangers. And then, of course, we have present day where he's working the con circuit, and you've got like Balu the bear, who's now hot because of the Jungle Book, the 3D Jungle Book remake, which by the way was also a bomb. So that was the thing that was kind of a joke about that, was that he's become really big again because Jungle Book, but Jungle Book actually bombed. So yeah, Ugly Sonic is in it. The Sonic with the human teeth and the weird nose, and it's pretty fucking funny when they start doing that kind of level of humor where you have these failed, now these has been animated characters, and some of them fall on hard times. So, they end up owing money to people. And of course, if they fall in with the wrong crowd, they could get what's called bootlegged. And having people, you get bootlegged is you get kidnapped, you get changed in different ways. And then your movie that you're famous for, your show that you're famous for, ends up getting changed to a different title. For example, uh, Peter Pan, would be a bedroom flying boy is what the title would be of the movie that they're ripping off. And of course, they change the character in certain ways. And that's what's actually fucking funny about this, is because this does happen where they change the animation style, whatever. They change the way the character looks. They use the same plot. They use the same scenes and everything, and then they just change the story title to supposedly get past the copyright laws. And only this time it's done for nefarious purposes. And of course, it's an aged Peter Pan, voiced by Will Arnett, who's called himself Sweet Pete now, which is really damn funny. And I have to admit, there is one surreal moment in there, since Seth Rogen is in this as well. He plays Bob, the Viking axe wielder. Uh, there's one joke that made me laugh the hardest, I have to admit, is when Chip and Dale get taken down to go and see Sweet Pete, and they're in the back of the cheese guy's van, and they get taken over to Sweet Pete, and when they come out of the back of the van, they're like, "Wait a minute, this place is really weird. What's going on?" They're looking around. There's all these CGI 3D characters, and they're like, "Hey, remember back in the early 2000s when there was a lot of CGI movies that were going on that were looking super realistic but weren't quite there? There was something kind of creepy about them. We're in the uncanny valley." I mean, I said it at the same time that they did because I realized it. It hit me in the head and made me fucking laugh. So they had all these characters that are the uncanny valley is where they live, and they're all the really creepy CGI characters that look almost totally realistic, except their stare is not right. And so you have Bob, the axe wielding Viking, voiced by Seth Rogen, who's talking to them, but he's not looking at them. He's not looking at anybody. And he's like, "Yes, I am. I'm talking to you. I'm looking right at you." They're like, "No, you're not." And they're like, "Yes, I am." And that was pretty fucking funny. But there's also another surreal moment in it where Bob is chasing them and he gets knocked down in the convention, and all these different characters that Seth Rogen has voiced over the years, like Pumbaa. Um, I'm trying to think who else that he's. I mean, Mantis, Bob, Bob. All these characters are kind of hovering over him, and they're just going, "Dude, you look weird. What's wrong with your vision?" And they're all doing the Seth Rogen laugh, and it's creepy, but at the same time, it's really fucking funny. And then it goes creepy again, and then it gets funny. It's one of the weirdest things. I can't really put my finger on what it was, but it made me laugh. So it's things like that that are in it. J.K. Simmons as Sergeant Putty, uh, being a block, he's basically a Gumby, is really what he is. But they have him set up like J.K. Simmons. He even has putty hair that's around, the rim of his head, and oh, yeah, and it's funny, I have to admit. They did a good job of this one. Um, and, of course, bringing everyone back, together again, and, oh, the other thing was I didn't realize that Monterey Jack, the dude that's in the Rescue Rangers is actually voiced by Eric Bana. Because he has a fairly significant role, and, it's kind of funny that he does that. Putty hairline, no, he's actually like Silly Putty. There's a couple of references to Silly Putty, and, so, like, at one point, they're looking for clues in Monterey Jack's, apartment after he gets, heisted for to be bootlegged, and Putty puts his hand down on a thumbprint or a fingerprint, and he brings it up, and you see the fingerprint on his hand, and then he just uh, slices the layer of it off, and then puts it in a evidence bag, and he goes, "Take that to the lab and have it analyzed." And that was actually kind of funny. I mean, it was just because that's what he does. So, but yeah, he has like a little brown piece of putty around the back of his head, and he gets stuff stuck to him all the time. So other officers, gum, things like that, and it's yeah. There's a lot of people that are in this movie. Flua Borg is in this movie. Even God, I can't remember her name now. Oh shit, why am I blanking on her name? Famous singer and Paula Abdul. There we go. So Paula Abdul actually voices a little bit as well. Paul Rudd actually has a great little cameo in this too, playing himself. And he's explaining how Ant Man was originally Aunt Man, who was, for some reason, aunts were attracted to him in a kind way, kind of thing. So it's this really funny subversion of things that are going on, and it really kind of plays with Hollywood on a couple of different levels of has been celebrities, also animation, criminally underrated is really what it is. Disney needs to promote this differently. They need to promote it more, and they need to sell it a bit better, and I think if they had actually promoted this well, they could have released it in theaters and made a shit ton of money off of it. I never knew what this was until, like I said, I took a gamble on it on Disney Plus, and I would have paid money to go see this in the theater, to tell you the truth. If they had marketed this thing right, I don't think they knew how to market this, so that's what they had a problem with. Penn says, "Oh, I think I definitely need to move this to the top of the list. I never would have guessed." Yeah, no one would have guessed this. It's a movie that kind of hits on all cylinders. It's it's just a weird fucking movie. It really is, but at the same time, it's a familiar movie. There's even a point in there where the bad guy pulls out his little really what he does, he pulls out an animator's roll, a wrap of tools, and one of them is an eraser because he can erase mouths so they can't scream. And right next to the eraser is a little bottle of dip. Now, those of you who have watched, Who Framed Roger Rabbit or familiar with that, dip, of course, is from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is where a generous portion of this plot comes from. Because yeah, that's really what it is. It's Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a way. But yeah, it's good. It's definitely worth your time. Give it a shot. It's decent, and like I said, it's just not advertised well at all. I mean, not at all. And I don't know how you would advertise it without giving away some of the stuff. But yeah, and oh, the other thing too is that Dale has gone through a process to become he went through an operation to become CGI. So he's, 3D animated now, whereas Chip is still 2D animation. So that's why you see them as 2D and 3D is because he went through an operation in order he was trying to make himself more marketable. And there's even a joke in there too, which I loved, is that Chip actually talks about, you know, um, having old animated characters rap in a movie or a TV show in order to make them more relevant. And he goes, "No, don't make them rap. That's the stupidest thing. Because just kill me now." And it's funny because that's exactly The Simpsons made that joke reference like long ago with Poochie. Um, but it still holds true. They still try to make old characters rap in order to sound relevant, and it doesn't work. It really doesn't. But your audiences are not that dumb. So, and also they just really don't want to hear, you know, old characters rap like Betty Boop or something like that rapping in order to make her relevant. And again, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, definitely worth your time. Give it a shot. Like I said, it's on Disney Plus. It flies by really really quickly. There's a lot of voice cameos in there. There's a lot of cameos in general, just of characters. Um, yeah, it's one of those things you're gonna have to watch a couple of times in order to get a lot of stuff that's in there because there's stuff happening in the background, there's stuff happening in the foreground, there's gags, there's sight gags. um there's not just the gags themselves within the script, but there's also sight gags as well within this movie and throughout the movie, and it's something that is clever. I mean, that's the whole thing. You don't see this a lot in these kind of movies anymore. um so this is directed by Akiva Schaffer, who he actually plays himself in the movie as well, which is kind of funny as a director. But he's, of course, worked on things, a lot of work. He's worked on a lot of things with Andy Samberg. And I mean, he's worked on the Lego movie as well, on the soundtrack, things of that nature. But as a director, it's mainly been Saturday Night Live stuff that he's been working on. So, like I said, there's a lot of Saturday Night Live cast members that are scattered throughout this whole thing. But I believe this is like his first feature film. I'm actually looking through his IMDb right now, and yeah, it looks like this is his first like feature film that he's done. Which also could be the reason why Disney didn't know what the fuck to do with it, because first time director, and they were probably scared and didn't know, how to promote it, and so they didn't. Yeah, which is a shame. I mean, because this one was one of those things like knocked it out of the park. Again, if it just been marketed a bit better, it it would have been it would have been done well. Yeah. So so give it a shot. You know, it's definitely worth looking at. So, what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Tomorrow, and Thursday I'm off. Is that right? Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday and Thursday I'm off. Friday is going to be Obi-Wan, the series. That's right. Episode 1, season 1, episode 1 of Obi-Wan, the series on Friday. Saturday I'll be off. Sunday will be another episode of Saturday morning, the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. And then Monday I'll be off. And then Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And I think what I'm going to be doing is Stranger Things season 4, part 1, because that comes out this weekend as well. There's a lot of shit that's going to be starting to come out, and just keep looking at the schedule. Also, if you go and take a look at suspendedfanimation.com, underneath the schedule itself, I have the future dates of all the stuff that's coming out that I'm interested in at this point, and also just a lot of the stuff in general. So yeah. Yes, Movie Fanobi, I did watch it, and for a good reason. So go back and take a look, rewind, and see what you think about it. Yeah. But it's a much different movie than anyone thought this was going to be. But Obi-Wan is going to be awesome. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. You just got out of Top Gun. Okay. Yeah, I can wait for Top Gun to come out, on Amazon Prime or something like that, or I'm in no rush to watch it. I really wasn't a fan of the first one anyway, so I know sacrilege, but hey, just wasn't my thing. All right. So thank you to everybody joining me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. It's changed. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, all the links to my pages as well up there. You value other optimism? Okay. Yeah, I just wasn't, Top Gun does not do it for me. All right. With that said, I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you guys again on Friday for Obi-Wan. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may wind up in getting bootlegged, and you really don't want that to happen because, yeah, there's just parts that can be erased on you. You get a dog's butt on your, a dog's nose on your butt, that kind of thing, just depending on how, Sweet Pete wants to do things. You really don't want to have Sweet Pete deciding on where to put things. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Have a good rest of your week, and stay safe out there. Get those vaccine shots. Get the boosters as well because they help. And stay safe out there. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Have a good rest of your night and a good rest of the week. Thanks, everyone. Good night.